Hey guys, it's Zachy J, and today we're going to talk about some breath work. Let's talk about some breath work. Yes, what about anchoring and breath work? Did you know that you can anchor state change into your breath? Yeah, you can anchor state changes into your breath. And this is how we have communication with our bodies. We are communicating with our bodies. And the way we have that dialogue is by breathing. You have a nervous system in there. It's on the outside and it's on the inside, right? You have a nervous system on the outside, sending the signals from the world around you and all the signals from within. So the nervous system activation you get when you're doing breath work with intention, when you're doing breath work with feeling, when you're doing that with intention and feeling, you get to have a dialogue with your body. And what's that dialogue going to sound like, right? What are you going to end up talking about? Are you going to end up talking about performance? Because you can have that conversation with yourself. Are you going to end up talking about feelings? Because you can have that conversation with yourself. Are you going to end up talking about, spiritual state changes, perspective shifts? You can have that one too. And it's being anchored into yourself, as it's being anchored into your body, that's happening because you're able to feel more information. You're able to feel. You're able to develop insight through feeling. Yes, you have feeling, and that's inside of you, and you can use that to develop the insight inside of you. And that's pretty important because I don't know if you noticed this, but there tends to be a lot of things happening on the inside. You got like a lot of internal informations that are being exchanged in your nervous system and different layers of it. And the body should be processing this information because it's a very helpful guidance system when you are actually not stopping yourself from feeling these things or not being aware that there is that much more to yourself than just what's on the outside, but obviously the things that are on the inside too, but also the things that are on the inside that are technically accessible. Like all that stuff is technically very accessible through moderate amounts of breathing and moderate amount of focused skill into breath work. You don't have to do it that much, but I would definitely suggest you learn enough breath work to get your 80-20 out of it. The 20% effort is going to yield you 80% of the results. And you can figure out what that means to you. But you should spend enough time so you can have this communication with your body on complicated topics too. Because you need that in your toolbox. There's going to be times when there's the communication that you need, because the information that you need to take care of like emergent problems in front of you, that information can only be sourced from inside. Like you can ping other people in relation to that problem, but honestly, there's the sourcing from intuition is usually the best guidance force. It's incredibly helpful, breath work and calming down your nervous system, so you can feel these things also in stressful scenarios. Because in stressful scenarios, there might be like a dulling of certain internal senses, as if there's a exterior focus into something else, and that might cause like reactivity. So instead of being able to listen to more of this internal information from from how you feel, right? There's just an external reaction that's already kind of informing your actions. It's not, and the way if you don't process that out into communication, what you're feeling, it tends to kind of stay in there, If it stays in there, unaddressed communication, that's a surefire way to build up resentment for the things that you're not communicating with. The people that you do not communicate with, including yourself. If you have unaddressed communication, like eventually that'll probably just build resentment, and then yeah, you're gonna have to, when that comes out, that's not a fun one. So you gotta figure out what you need to say, and also how to listen to what you're saying, because sometimes this communication is with yourself, right? Sometimes people haven't talked a day in their life to themselves, you know, or they don't. Maybe they don't feel like they had a good enough conversation with themselves, you know, like a good one, not like just talk, but like wholesomeness, like they like the conversation that they had was with a friend, you know, like a deep friend, a deep lover. That internal conversation and communication skills doesn't feel like you're at home with yourself, or talking to a deep friend, or, you know, an awesome lover. And sometimes that's just based off of the resolution of information that's coming through you, right? And that's one thing that a lot in the world of meditation is they're trying to help you experiment with. They're helping you see. Yeah, like a lot of meditation traditions want you not to necessarily pick through the good and the bad when you're looking at the world, and including yourself, but instead of sorting through them, you just get to see the degrees of resolution. And sometimes a picture, if you're looking at the foreground of a picture, it could have something drastic, and, you know, in the background of a picture, it can have something quite beautiful. And then when the whole thing is taken into account, like the whole entire landscape or the picture, then you just can realize that, wow, okay, this is beautiful, this is helpful, this is to my advantage, this is necessary, you know, oh, this is a great friend, this is a great lover. And you can see that about, you know, when you're having this communication with yourself, that there's resolutions of it that include the painful stuff, but also that the painful stuff is like can be deeply motivated by the highest forms of your expression. Can be deeply motivated by the highest forms of your expression, and that you can really lean into that too. You can open yourself up to deeper dialogues and more friendship, more companionship with your communication, and dialing in with breath work will get you there. Because guess what? They've been doing it for all sorts of, like, meditation, breath work, you know, these things. That's been going on a long time. It's been going on a long time. People have been doing that one. You know what I mean? Don't miss out. You know, you got some chances that, you know, we got so much information out here that, like, before all this stuff was like gay guarded, man. You gotta go to like a monastery or something. You just learn any of this stuff now. So you should definitely check it out. You might realize it's a great tool in building out a better you, and you get to feel your way into a better you. What better way to slide right in, right, to that higher self? What better way than having a little bit of anchor in breath work? Making sure them breaths are activating internal nervous systems and energizing them, bringing that energy on the inside. Yeah, gotta bring it on the inside. Yeah, and then you can check in, you know, because, like, once you have the awareness, later on when you're like in a complicated, say, communication pattern, it's not like you need to be like, hold up, let me take a moment out of this. I mean, you can, by the way, but it's like, hold up, I need to take a moment out of this crucial conversation to do some breath work in order to feel. Now I mean, that would help, of course, but you can already have that sensitivity because you've been developing that sensitivity, you know. It's that sensitivity to what you need to say, what you want to do, you know. So yeah, just try it out. You might find out that you get a lot of benefits, and there's really no downside, and it's pretty fun too. So yeah, if you do me a favor and like and subscribe, that'd be awesome. I would deeply appreciate that. And this helps me, share some information with more peoples. So that's good. And we're all sharing consciousness together. So let's just make this thing a better one, okay? Let's make it all better. So I'm Zachy J, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.